Good morning. This is Jim and Kim with Money Management Inc. Hey, hope you had a great weekend, a great Father's Day, and happy Father's Day to all the fathers. My father's been dead for many years, and that's so I don't have a father anymore. But it's a day we can honor all the fathers, and I certainly honored him for the time he was here and for the things that he did for me and taught me, etc., etc. We're going to do something again, a little not unethical, no, a little unusual today. We're going to talk about a subject called political correctness. Have you ever heard that term? Let me tell you what it means. It means chicken. It means no guts. It means you hadn't got the courage to take a stand. That's what political corrections mean. I can't spell it, nor do I want to. I don't want to be any part of political corrections. The Christian community right now is the largest community, largest group in the whole world. Yet we're the biggest bunch of wimps. Biggest bunch of wimps. In Revelations, Jesus says, I would rather you be hot or cold, but since you're lukewarm, I'm going to spit you out of my mouth. And folks, we ain't even lukewarm. You know, we come up with all this stuff for blacks that they want, and they're saying, well, you did wrong to us, and you had us as slaves and all, and that's true, absolutely true. But there's not a person living, I don't think, that owns slaves. I don't think. My family did not own slaves, and I'm sorry it happened, but we can't do anything about it except apologize. And I think most people have apologized, and I certainly apologized. I think it was terrible. Another thing, we're letting the gay and lesbian community take us over. Again, the Bible says God made man and he made woman so they could join together. He didn't make Bob and Harry so they could join together, or Susie and Jane so they could join together. In fact, if two like people join together, they can't reproduce children anyway. And yet, we're also told that we should love the sinner but hate the sin. And because of our political correctness, if we hate the sin, it's not very obvious. It's certainly, it's not very obvious. Was Jesus politically correct? Well, let me give you a perfect example. When he saw what was going on in the temple, he went into the temple, and not only did he turn over the tables of people that were there selling stuff and bartering with people, he turned over their tables, he got a whip and drove them out. Well, I bet you if he had thought about it, of course, he's not going to think about those kind of things. He probably would have said, or some people would have said, that's not politically correct thing to do, Jesus. I mean, you can't go in a temple and turn over tables and these people's money and all this stuff and run them out with a whip. He did it right. He did it right. He didn't know about political correctness, could care less about political correctness. Political correctness and lack of political correctness does not mean the difference between love and hate. Does not mean that. Jesus loved the people. No question about it. No question about it. But they were doing the right thing in his Father's house, so he used not so politically correct and went in and got them out. Folks, we got to take over this world. We got to get it back. If the Christian community could get together, we could elect the next president. We could. But we can't get together because I don't know why. I don't know why. The Baptists don't trust the Presbyterian don't trust the Catholics don't trust the Methodists, and there are going to be all kind of different religions in heaven, and there are going to be all kind of different religions in hell. It doesn't make any difference if you're a Baptist or Catholic or Methodist. That's irrelevant. It's just totally irrelevant. I'm going to make the rest of my life an issue to avoid this political correctness, total 100% baloney. It is baloney. I don't care what people say. I don't care. If I'm going to offend somebody, God or man, I'm going to offend man. Give you a perfect example. A couple of years ago, there was an article that came out with the American Lung Association. It said secondhand smoke kills. It does. Absolutely. American Lung Association said it. They know that. Some guy who happened to be a supervisor at the time, a very heavy smoker, as I later found out, called me, and he didn't have the courage to talk to me. He left a long voicemail. and he called me every name but a white boy. And he made sure he told me, you'll never get none of my money. Well, I don't think he had anything to get anyway, and I didn't want it. But he made sure I knew I'd never get any of his money. And how dare me to come in and say it was not okay for him to smoke. And he might just come down and whip my, whatever. And so I called him back and didn't get him, but I left the voicemail for him. And I said, if you want to come down and whip my, make sure you know my right address. And I gave my home address and my office, and welcomed him anytime. Wants to come down and do what he said, come on. He never showed up. A few years later, this same individual died. Guess what he died of? Lung cancer. Do you think that his smoking, his right to smoke, I didn't deny that. I didn't argue about that. Yeah, he had the right to smoke, but he didn't have the right to smoke where I had to smell the smoke, and he could kill himself. That's his choice. But he doesn't have the right to kill me, and that's why I stepped in. See, I was not very politically correct, nor do I care. We've got to quit worrying about political correctness. We've got to start worrying about doing the right thing. Every time you get into a dilemma, you think about, what would Jesus do? Jesus went into the temple, like I said, turned over the tables, kicked them out, drove them out with a whip. I'm not suggesting that any of us go into a church and drive them out with a whip, but if that's what's necessary, that's what's necessary. Hey, hope we gave you a little something to think about. Thanks for watching. Hope you have a great week.